So in the last video, we did install the management station. We also upgraded to the latest Jumbo hotfix. We're running this management station in R81.20, which is the latest and recommended release from Checkpoint as of December 2023. So now it's time to add some firewalls, or some security gateway as Checkpoint calls them. I'm thinking that we will actually run them in R81.10. So we will actually be installing a cluster, and we will be running it in R81.10. And this will provide us with internet access. But it also will provide us the possibility to train to upgrade the Jumbo hotfixes, but also to upgrade to a major release. If we check the real official like CCSA R81.10 lab topology, Checkpoint is running a single gateway. I don't believe in running single gateways. I believe that you should be running it in clusters, and you should be practicing in running it in clusters. The reason why you would run clusters instead of single gateways is the possibility to do upgrade without having any outage. So how we will do this is that we will install 2 new gateways. We will add a few interfaces on this, because we need one interface to the internet, we need one interface to the local network, and we need one interface for sync. So in a real production environment, you will not have dedicated physical interface for everything. You will have a few dedicated interfaces that you would bond together and then run VLANs on them. So how I would do it in real life is that, yes, I would run 3 different bonds. So I will have one for external, one for internal, and one for sync. And each bond will be 2 interfaces. So in a real production environment, I would use 6 interfaces for this setup in total. But having it's in bonds, both it will double like the performance, so you can load balance over 2 interfaces. But you can also connect it redundant to like a VPC pair when it comes to like Cisco Nexus. And then you would add VLANs for each separate security zone, or what you want to call it. So we will be doing this setup with Cluster XL. Cluster XL is Checkpoint way to cluster. So it's very similar to like HSRP or VRRP. So you will have one active member and one standby member. So if the active member for some reason goes down, all the traffic would fail over to the standby member. So the reason why you would have redundancy or dual boxes, even that one is only pushing warm air and more or less doesn't take any traffic, is because you want to be able to do maintenance. I mean, you can always like say like, okay, we don't need redundancy because the boxes has dual power supplies or whatever. But even if a box have dual power supplies, if you're going to upgrade the software on it, because these are running Checkpoint software, then you will have an outage. So the only way to prevent an outage when doing a maintenance window is to have 2 boxes. And we are running this in VMware, and you can of course have virtual ones, you can have appliances, you can have open servers. So there is a mixture of flavors that you can run Checkpoint clusters in, or Checkpoint security gateways or firewalls. When it comes to what image you should use the upgrade and download wizard. We will do a new installation, we will do a security gateway, and we will run it in VMware. You can select open servers, it will be the same 6.x, and we are going to run Gaia. Checkpoint did have an older software version called Splat before, and before that it was Ipso, but now it's only Gaia. So I don't know if this is still like valid to have. Anyway, and we will be installing this in R81.10. So we will be provided with a link, and then we can download this this ISO file, so we're able to install. I have already pre-downloaded, so we save some time. To see our minimum requirements, we still need to go into the release notes for the specific version that we want to run. Keep in mind that we want to upgrade this to R81.20, so it could be beneficial to actually check the release note for R81.20 because that's the target version that we will have later on. But we are going to install a security gateway. This is checkpoint word for firewall. So we need 2 CPU cores and we need 4 gigs of memory per box. And for storage, they recommend 200 gig. Its minimum requirement is 110 gig. So I guess we will take 200 gigs. So just to confirm, I actually open up the release note for R81.20 and they have the same requirement as the R81.10. If you're doing this with appliances, you need to check what is the maximum version for that specific appliance. So let's create 2 new virtual machines. So custom, we're running it in ESX 6.5, and I will select what ISO version I want to have. And I have this one, R81.10, and it's Linux, Linux 5, 64 bits, and we call it CP Gateway 1. Don't blame me for names. You can pick whatever you want. And we put it somewhere here. And we go R81.20 CP Gateway 1. And this is only to have a folder to put it so I know which, what is what. And I will have 2 CPU cores. It's not a big deal. You want to have more CPU cores if you want to run a lot of blades. So the more traffic and so on you want to push against, you need more CPU cores. This is a lab, so I don't think that we will need more than 2. And memory wise, what was the minimum requirement? Minimum requirement is 4. So let's put it to 4. And do not use network connection because we need to add a bunch of interfaces. CCSA, I don't know why, but yeah, okay, recommended. Create a new virtual disk, 200 gigs. We place this the same place. Next, customize hardware. We will add 3 interfaces. And we need to check our drawing on what type of VMnet we should be using. So we should have the first interface in VMnet 8, second one in VMnet 5, and then 15. So 8, 5, 15. So this one 8, this one 5, and this one 15. All right, so that's great. I will just double check. So 8, 5, 15. Yeah, let's hope that works. So finish. Okay, so power on the virtual machine, install GUI on the system, and to speed it up yourself, do both at the same time. It's a lot easier. One thing that can help you a lot, and maybe I should try to do that, is settings. You can select which interfaces should be powered on, so it's easier for you to find them when you see them in the list. So you can remove the connected here. So I disconnect these because I want to put the one that should connect to the management station on VMnet 5 because that's the one that closest to the management station. Just to make it easier. Yes, I want to proceed with the installation. I have Swedish keyboard. I don't know how big I can get, maybe 50 gig. Can I get even 60 maybe? Yeah, 60. I will run 60 gigs. When I do my real production open servers, I try to take like two disk with like 500 something gig, 600 gig, and then RAID 1 on them, so they are redundant. So I don't really care about the speed of the disk on a gateway, but I want to have like 500 to 700 gigs of disk on my gateways. Is it necessary? No, but it's convenient. And password. So this did not ask for the maintenance password. And here you see what I talked about. Like, okay, so you need to select like which is your management port, and then it's easy to know it by not connecting the other ones. So if we go back here, I want to have my management on Ethernet 1. So I will. So here is Ethernet 1, the VMnet 5. So if we check the this one, it is the second one added here. So yes, this is 0, 1, and 2. So of course you can count it, but yeah, I just think it's easier to do it this way. So I want to have it on Ethernet 1. And IP address for this will be 2. And default gateway will be nothing here actually. Because I don't have the interface to internet as of yet. We will add this later. So this is 2, and then okay. And yes, I want to format all the drives, and this takes a few minutes. Right now the time is 15:48, so I will check how many minutes it takes. So in the background, I started to do exactly the same on CP Gateway 2. So we have this ready when we want to attach them to the management station. So when the installation is complete for this step, you need to go into the first time wizard with the web browser. So you just need to HTTPS to the box itself. So reboot. And that took 15:53. I don't know how many minutes. I don't remember what I did say, but 10 minutes something. So quite fast. So let's see if we can log into the gateway number 1 and do the first time wizard. Continue. So you see Checkpoint's old logo. When you add the latest HFA that is recommended, the logo would change. So this is the first time wizard. It's very similar to the R81.20, not a big difference. So we have this this interface there. So this is, do you want to connect to the internet? Yes, we want to connect to the internet. So we can put Ethernet 0, and we can add some IP addresses there. I don't think I have connected the NIC itself, but so this is CP gateway 1. You can of course change all this later on, so doesn't need to be perfect now. So the important one is that we are going to install a security gateway. So we deselect, remove this. It will be part of a cluster, and you see that you can actually run VRRP, but we're going to run cluster Excel. And I highly recommended this as well. I don't even think this is an option to deselect in R81.20. don't remember actually. But if you don't have this, yeah, it's complicated. So next. And here is something called a SIC. So this is a one-time password that you use to connect the management server to the gateway, so they know that they are allowed to communicate with each other. So I will just put checkpoint here. This is a one-time password. You cannot see it. You can change it later on, but if you change it, you need to re-SIC in the management server as well. We will make a separate video on how to re-SIC gateways, because if you re-SIC it with the standard way, it forces it to run a CP stop, meaning you have an outage. But that's a separate video. And yes, we can send some data to checkpoint. So now it will do the last configuration, so we can actually log into the Gaia portal, and we can also connect it to the management station. So let's see how the gateway number 2 is doing. Soon done there as well. All right, it's done, so it will just reboot. So gateway number 2 is ready to be rebooted. So reboot. And then we run the first time wizard on that one as well, because we need both of them up and running to connect it to the management station to be able to do a cluster. In the background, I have logged into the smart console. So here is where we will add the gateways, but we need some things more. Okay, so this is done now. Gateway number 1. So what sort of stuff do we want to fix before? We want to set up the sync interface. If this would be real production, if this would be like how you should do it in real, you would update the DA agent, you will update to the latest recommended jumbo hotfix before you take it in online, so to say. But we will go to the network interfaces here. And here we have Ethernet 2. That is our sync interface. So if we go back to the drawing, we're going to do this one, the sync interface. I haven't written here on what I should use, but the .1 and .2 I guess will be fine. So this one, edit. We want to enable it. Write sync 192.168.250 and then 1. I normally run a /29 or /28 depending on how big the cluster is. And most of the time I use 169 IP addresses for the sync interface. So I have all other IP addresses available more or less. So I can have the same network for all the clusters for all the syncs if I want to. But I will keep it simple. So we need to take up this interface. So we're going to VMware and we enable this one. So it's connected. We can do the same on that one. I just didn't want to give it internet access. And the reason for this is because I wanted to do some stuff manually, like updating the DA agent. So we will do it in CLI, so you see that way also. Because if I connect it directly to the internet, it will start to update some of these services by default automatically. And this is a lab, this is a training, so we should try to make it complicated. Can I say like that? So within the Gaia portal, of course, you want to run the SNMP so you can have some monitoring. You would also add your static route here. So we can add a default route already. Our default route, add gateway, it would be 192.168.159. How do I see default network here? So if I do like this, I enable the internet interface on the Windows 10 machine, and it should get the an IP address. So ipconfig/all. So the default gateway is actually .2. Okay, so .2. Save. I remember first time I did do this, I troubleshooted for like, I don't know, 30 minutes or something to find out like why is the default gateway .2. I had no idea, but this is a easy way to check it. Just have something on DHCP and yeah, check what you get. I'm sure someone knows exactly how to get it out from the network editor, but yeah, I don't know. So I will disconnect the internet here again, like this, because we want to use the internet through the cluster instead. So this machine has booted up, and I was thinking like this. So yes, we can make it easy and just enable it in the Web GUI. That's what I normally do. But some of you guys don't like Web GUI, so let's do it in CLI. So we can connect to the first one. So admin, and we take the second one as well. And we do like this and this, and we do the lock database override, copy, paste, show configuration. So what we wanted to do is to enable some interfaces. So we see here, here is the sync interface. So this one is the one that we want to do on this one. So normally what I do is just to copy. Hopefully I have some Notepad++ here. Why I don't have Notepad++, I don't know. So now I have the configuration. So I just take 2 and copy and paste. And save config. So if we check here in what is called Gaia portal, we see here it's connected and it's up. So the link status is up. Okay. So we could try to ping the other member. See if it's working. So that would be .2. So this is not working. Why is this not working? This is a firewall. So we can do like this. We need to set the expert password. Set expert password. Should you do like this in real production? No. So the command to unload all the firewall policies is to run fv unload local. And now we should be able to ping, and we are able to ping. So just because you're not able to ping a firewall doesn't mean that it's not working. So we can try to ping our management station. So this is working. We can try to ping it from here. So this is working. So now we want to attach the gateways to the management station so we can actually add a policy and we can do things. As I said, in real life production, you would install the latest recommended Jumbo hotfix, you would upgrade some DA agent before you do this to have it more set. But we want to try to pass some traffic when we do this upgrade, so you can get the feeling on how to do this in real production later on. So this is the Smart Console. So we want to add, so we click this one, and we want to add a cluster. And I have never done it in wizard mode, so I always do it in classic. So now the question is like, okay, what will we call our cluster? So I don't know, CP cluster 1. Yeah, I'm great with names. And we will add an IP address, so 192.168.1.1. And this is an open server. It's R81.20. It will be a firewall. So how do we actually add the gateways themselves? Well, we do that on the cluster members. So we do add, and then add new cluster member. So the first one is called CP Gateway 1, and it has the IP address of 192.168.1.2. And here is the password. So SIC. So you press communication, and you put checkpoint or the password that you have selected. Press initialize, and then it should say trust established. This means that it's working. So close. Okay. And then we add a new member, CP Gateway 2, 192.168.1.3. Communication, checkpoint, or the password that you have selected, initialize, trust establish. Okay. So now we have both the members will be part of this cluster. The next step is to do the cluster Excel. So we have cluster Excel high availability. And we are going to maintain the active cluster member. And then we're going to do network management, because here is the topology. So we will do get interfaces, and we do without topology. So this should add some interfaces. So we see here that we have gateway 1 and gateway 2, and we have topologies as undefined, private. So here is where we want to define our sync interfaces and our cluster interfaces, so to say. So Ethernet 0, that's our external interface. So we will do edit, and we will do cluster. And here we will put a virtual IP, and I see that I did put wrong here. So I need to change that, because I wanted to have 100 for the cluster IP. So I will just change this. So I will do like this, then and log in. So I should have 101. This, and I take 101. And here it's saved automatically. So let's try to do it again. So now it's 101. So good. Edit, and it will be cluster, and my cluster IP address will be .100/24. I will do a topology saying this is an external interface, and I want to perform anti-spoofing on it. And you can actually define a security zone. I normally like to do that on the external interface, because it makes it easier when it comes to rules. So external zone, and then okay. And we can of course put like comments. You can put like internet here.
So this is our internal one, so edit. And this will also be a cluster. 192.168.1.1/24. And we will do the topology here as well. Override, and we will use this one because this is there will be nothing behind this. There is nothing rooted behind it or similar. So okay. And this will be the sync interface. So edit, and we will change this to sync, and then okay. So now we have I don't know if it will complain on that because it's a sync. Let's see. Do we need to do anything more? Normally I do this one. Log storage, additional logging, forwarded logs, and I do this one. This one means that it's create a new log file every midnight, and it should also forward logs to the management server if it has lost the management server. So this is normally what I, yeah, more or less what I do. So okay, yes, that's okay. Let's see if we are able to push the policies and all of that nice stuff. So here we have the cluster. It's an open server. We only have firewall and VPN. So we will take the security policy, and we will at least add so we can do ICMP. So bear with me for now. We will do more advanced stuff here later on. So we will add ICMP. I just want to have something. So here, allow ping. And source any, destination any. So publish. So publish doesn't mean apply it. Publish only means that it's updated on the management server and all the other admins can see what type of rule changes you have made. And it's first when you do install policy where it actually applies on the cluster itself. So we will install the access control policy on this cluster, and let's see if it works. So here we have the process. Failed. Why does it fail? Topology, okay. We need to have topology on number Ethernet 2. Okay. And this override defined this, and publish and install policy. Please say that this works. So this is thankfully successful. So now we actually have a gateway with yeah, we have our default gateway. So we should be able to ping it now. I don't say that we have internet access or anything like that. I only say that we can possibly reach our default gateway now. So yes, from our VN machine with Smart Console, we can reach the default gateway. And maybe we can see it in the logs as well. What was the IP address of this box? .50. Do we log the traffic? Yeah, we log the traffic. So we get in logs, but I'm still waiting for the ICMP. But you see here that we get the my machine itself. It tried to reach the DNS. Can I get the log? I want the log. What if I ping? Ah, yeah. Finally, it just took some time. So here we see the ICMPs for the cluster, and also when I clicked to the gateway. And here we see my ping to Google as well. So green means good. Green doesn't mean it actually works, because when I tried to reach Google, I didn't get any reply, but it's still green here in the logs. But we will talk more about that in a later video. So I think that's it for this video. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one. Take care.